Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
This episode is powered by Poddex.
Thank you for tuning in today. You are now listening to That Will Never Work podcast with your host, Maurice Chisholm. Hey, everyone. How y'all doing today? This is Maurice. So today, it's been a lot going on in this world. A lot of us are having a lot of personal and professional challenges. And a lot of times we lose track on what our main objectives are and how to stay focused through this process. And I could tell you right now for myself, it has not been easy. As you heard in my last episode, that it's been hard to be motivated, right? And someone had listened to that episode, and they tried to encourage me and try to point me in the right direction and coach me, if you will, through my difficult time. I think each and every one of us go through this season of difficulty, and for myself, I feel like the atmosphere is shifting based off of the fact that I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary. And one of the things that this individual said to me, it really stuck with me, if you will. And before I get into that, as I prepare for these shows, I gather a bunch of information. I find ways to come up with topics and things like that. And one of the things that I do have, as you listen to the intro, it says this episode is powered by Poddex, right? And so that's one of the things that I utilize to get some of my topics and titles and questions and things like that. And so as I'm perusing through these questions and whatnot, here is a question that kept popping up with in front of my face for whatever reasons. I kept pushing all the cards across the table, and it said, "What's the best advice you've ever been given?" So this is where I'm circling back to what this individual had mentioned to me. She asked me, did I write my goals and stuff down for this year? And I told her no. I was a little discouraged, not feeling it, things like that. She asked me, did I do my usual methods of encouragement, reading books, looking at videos, things like that, getting ideas. And I said, I have been reading a book, a really good book called Flawless Consulting. Really good book as I'm transitioning Chisholm Group LLC. And then she says to me, well, what about your whiteboard? Have you driven to the park? All these little things that I've spoken to her over the past few years about how I motivate myself and where I find inspiration. And today, and I don't come from this perspective often. And one of the things that I believe that some of us lose because we get so caught up in trying to make the money, trying to create resources, being the answer, finding the answer, reading this book, that book, sounding very intellectual, things like that, and not understanding in reality what we need to do when we get into these moments of not being focused. Now, some of us may end up having a drink. Let's call a spade a spade. Some people will, right? Some of us may even find other ways of entertaining themselves, such as going out on dates and, again, listening to motivational speakers and things like that. And I will admit that sometimes those things do help in creating my framework, creating my ideas, creating an environment that helps me to pour out, if you will. And even when we listen to any motivational speaker, from Les Brown, T.D. Jakes, whomever it is that inspires you, one of the things that these individuals talk about that helps them to stay focused, that helps them keep grounded. And I'm not sure how many of you do this, and I'm not saying this is for everyone, but I realize that this is for myself, and I had to do it. It's not that I don't do it often. Probably don't do it as often as I probably should, to be honest. I think everyone can always increase in this space. But I decided that, and this individual had advised, Maurice, get back centered and grounded as you're moving, more especially into this 10-year anniversary, and you probably have way too much stress on yourself because of that. But have you prayed? Have you prayed? And I will say for myself, that is the greatest advice I have been given in a very long time. Now, let's be honest. At times when people may say things like that, and it doesn't have to be praying, but any advice, sometimes we are not in the right frame, mindset, space, emotional, whatever it is that's holding us back to hear exactly what is being said to you. And then that one moment when you are finally open to hearing what people are saying to you is something as simple as pray. Have you prayed today? Have you found yourself centered? So I'm not telling you need to be a Christian. I'm not saying that you need to be Islamic. I'm not saying you need to be Jewish. I'm not saying that you need to be Hindu and, anything else. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is, have you taken that time out to just center yourself in a spiritual space? And I think that's where myself, I've been lacking. So as I move into this 10-year anniversary, I ask that each and every one of you continue to support and love each other, myself, as I do with you. Continue to pray for one another. Continue to give positive affirmations. Whatever it is, we need to find ways to uplift each and every one of us. And sometimes the advice that we're given, no, we're not always in the right space to receive it. Try your best to get to that place and understanding that the best advice is sometimes the simplest advice that you can be given. I thank y'all very much for listening to today, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.